Okay, this is the Autumn Primer. ATUM is the inventory management software that we have installed for WooCommerce. This is just going to be an overview of what you can perform or do within Autumn and how I use it. Okay? So, mostly, I use Autumn's Stock Central feature, which is over on the left-hand navigation right here, or you can access it up here on the top navigation. There's Stock Central. Actually, let me go back to the dashboard real quick, just to give you an overview what data will populate there. Unfortunately, the dashboard will always look like this. It will always give you ads and things like that. No matter how many times you click them away, they'll always put them back. Okay, so this is for today. We're looking at today across the board, but you can change it to this month, and like this is lost sales, which is looking at people's purchasing behavior versus in stock, out of stock. How many orders we have fulfilled. Total orders 34. Sure value. Then it also breaks down the promotions. Who's been using coupons? How much? What was it? 64 products, $264. And it also breaks down your current stock value, things like this. This is not correct because of the way the flower is structured. The flower needs to be structured individually, so it comes across to the system that there is specific inventory for each specific weight, not a total inventory for the combined weight. So if the flower has 1 gram, 2 gram, 3 gram option, all those options are individual and they're looked at as individual values and individual inventories. So it inflates this price. Probably, I would say my inventory is hovering probably around 18, something like that. So it could be about 10,000 over. Definitely, we do not have 211,000 items in stock. I would have a heart attack if that was the case. 735, I would say we probably have at least 500 for sure. This information here is probably much more accurate than this here. You can also go inside the categories specifically, which would be much more accurate if we looked at carts and pens. This would be an actual total. So $7,000 of carts and pens, I would say, is probably very accurate. So anyway, this is your dashboard. Okay, you can also go up to the statistics and look at sales. The same 4 columns stretched out over the year, right? So we can do it like that. We'll do previous year, just so you can kind of see how it looked, like that. So yeah. There was a period of time that we weren't using the website completely, so this may be reflecting that. But anyway, let's go into Stock Central. Stock Central has some key features that allow for quick editing of your inventory. As with all screens in WordPress, you can adjust what you're seeing by clicking on the screen option palette on the top of the menu, or it's not even the menu, just the top right corner. It's always here on every screen, and it offers options for that screen, and they're different. So if you're not seeing something you want to see, or you just want to kind of explore, this is a good place to explore, to turn these on, see if it's relevant to you, and evaluate it that way. Okay, So these are the columns that we can review. You can see that there's image, product types, suppliers, all the pricing information, from sale price, regular price, the purchase price. It calculates your gross profit. It will tell you how much stock you have on hold, if stock is coming in. That's going to be reflecting the purchase order and the inbound stock, these two items here. So there's a lot of valuable information. Sales in the last 14 days. It's a really good one too. So personally, I'm a minimalist, so I can always go and dig for more data if I need it. So I like to display just the basic things so I know I'm covered, so to speak. I'll be drinking coffee, so if you hear me slurping, I apologize. It's my awesome HD microphone that comes with my iMac that is picking up all the detail. So, anyway, let's take a look at some of these titles. Okay, so we have, of course, you can sort. That's what that little arrow is. I would not sort by these arrows because, boy, does it confuse the data. So just let it sort regular by loading, and then we can search and segment data through filtering up here, which is much easier. Okay, so I'll go one by one from the top. These are all the products that are in the Stock Central. These are the ones that are in stock, out of stock, back orders, and low stock. Okay? Low stock is set with a threshold of 2 items or less. You can search directly for a product by a keyword or a word that is within the name, like wax cigar. This is going to require a very specific search to yield the results that you want. It will pull from all the categories and all the different products. Bulk actions, you won't have to worry about that. This is enabling and disabling the Stock Central functions, which, because of the way we duplicate product, is inherited from the previous product anyway. So you're never going to need to go in and turn a product on per se, because it will already be turned on. And we have category search, product type search. We use 2: simple product, variable product. And these are a list of the suppliers. There was a period in time where I fleshed that out, but you'll find that some of the labor is excessive, and you don't really need it. If you start out utilizing it, you may always need to utilize it. But like I said before, I was a minimalist, so I started out with a very basic functions. That way I could add functions later and if I wanted. Okay? And then once you basically select it, it will just filter it automatically like that. Okay. Then what I have displaying is the regular price, the sale price, the purchase price, the gross profit, current days in stock, the estimated amount of time the stock will last, and how long that item has been out of stock. Now, this is an indicator of a simple product. This is an indicator of a variable product, which you can collapse and expand. Same here, like that. Okay. This is how I structured the flower. It's a new type of pricing that we just implemented. I don't know if I spoke to you, but we added this 1/2 gram. The next day, I took that 1/2 gram off. It just caused a lot of confusion. A lot of people simply use the website to view prices. They actually don't order on the website. You'll find that to be the case with your orders as well. And so they were calculating the gram price because it was the first number, and by putting a 1/2 gram it made everyone think that the ground price was actually $6 instead of 12, which caused a lot of confusion. Give me 1 second. Do some research work here. All right, yeah, that is marijuana that I'm smoking. I can confirm. So anyway, the some of the beneficial aspects of ATUM are the ability to click in and edit these fields very easily. So managing the products inside of products, this tab over here, you can see where I'm circling, is a little labor intensive. This centralizes them, that makes it easy to search and segment, and you can easily edit them without having to go into the file and change pricing or change stock. All you have to do is click. Anything that's highlighted, you can click on. Or not highlighted, but this blue color. So it changes my mouse to a hand, and that's how you know you can click on it. So you can very easily update stock quantities like that. And once it's changed, you hit set and it turns it to red. And then it tells you over here that you have to save it, right? So I'm going to change that back to 9 so I don't mess up. If you don't click that save button, it will not update. It's a two-step process, okay? Editing, setting it there, and then saving up here when it prompts you to. The show uncontrolled items is there if you have accidentally created a inventory item and not assigned it to ATUM, or actually have turned it off, then it will be under this area. I don't have any, you can see. We're going to show controlled items. Okay, and so the only, I guess, strange thing that you'll find is that in the variable items, there's also a stock quantity for the base item, which would be like here. Okay, if it was a simple product, it has the current stock of 9. But if you look here, it's compounded stock quantity. What I would expect it to do is you could have it equal 112, right? So these can add up to be 112, but that didn't work. It really limits what you can offer people, and you're not always going, you don't know the actual way people are going to buy things, and you'll never know that. One thing may move differently than another. And even in the same batches, like if you had one batch of the flour and then you took it off and a month later you got another batch of the same flour, put it on, very likely it would move differently than it did the first time. So what this number really does is just turns the product on. If you put this number to 0, then it will disable the product. So it just needs to be 1, actually. But what I do is I use it as an indicator for those items that I've bought quarter pounds or pounds. So this usually, if I'm following my protocol, will reflect 112 or 448. This number I disregard because I started out with a system where it was like 40 grams, 22 grams, 10 eighths, 5 quarters, that type of thing. And what I found is that over a long period of time of watching it, one would run out faster than the other, and it often would go unlooked, or or unnoticed. So we would have a customer call up and say, you have half ounces for Sweet Skunk, but there's no eighths available. So I stopped doing that and just started putting large numbers, all the way down. That way, it's available all the time until I take it off. And then if, once it gets down to about a half ounce, I change this and I remove the ounce, the half ounce, and I'll put the quarters at 2, and I'll put more realistic numbers. That way we can manage it better, and we know immediately. We have a couple flowers that have like 10 grams, that type of thing. That was how I used to do it. What I'm doing now is when it gets down to about a quarter, I pull it and I just put it in a baggie, and I take a picture of that product and put it up for a discounted price. The reason I do that is, some of the flour, well, most of the flour, when it gets down that low, people don't want it. They assume that it's the bottom of the jar and it's going to be shake and little pieces, which isn't always the case. Often it's still, a nice sized nug. So, by putting it in the baggie and taking a picture of it, the first time I did it, the 2 that I put up sold immediately. I mean, within like a half an hour. The first batch of orders, it was sold. So it's a good way to just move the remainder of the stuff. I used to just bag it and keep it and smoke it, and then it started stockpiling and going bad. And as much as you think you can smoke, when there's a limitless supply, it does take a while to get through that. All right, so anyway, some of the other things that you can do with, ATUM are create purchase orders, which, I don't actually know. Oh, this is me. I call myself the baller. I was like, what is this, the baller? Yeah, that's my admin name. So yeah, this is basically, not set up in my system, but you can create purchase orders from the inventory logs and the suppliers list. You'd have to go in here and, create your supplier, which is basically just clicking add new supplier, filling out their information, and, then you can create a purchase order based on the supplier information. I never took this step, just because I'm always in the inventory, and, it's in my brain constantly. So every day I get up and I look at it, and I talk to Adrian about it throughout the day. It's a constant endeavor to keep it accurate. And because it was the 2 of us, I thought that, adding these things, could be a detriment instead of a benefit. And, just by taking away my time and having to program it and constantly keeping up with the data. So I decided early not to go this route. But as you see, I did populate my suppliers. At least at that time I did. I have a lot more suppliers than this. So yeah, then you can also do inventory logs, which I haven't done either. It just basically pulls the data of how the product has performed, and, will give you some insights there. Like I said, minimalist, really just kept to the functions of, editing, centralizing, really like those 2 functions. Had we continued to grow, I was of the mindset to train the driver manager, to do purchase orders. That's what I let me rephrase that. So the thought was to have an inventory manager, and he was going to take that position, and we were going to promote one of the drivers to manager. And then he got robbed and he quit. So, but yeah, so assigning this to somebody as a task would be great. It would work very well. I would say, Gina had asked about doing multiple locations. If that were to come to pass, this would definitely have to be incorporated into it, because presumably you would be managing inventory for multiple locations, purchasing for multiple locations, having requests from multiple locations. So, yeah, we could cross that bridge when we come to it. So that's basically the run through of ATUM, how I use it, and that's it.